Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me today as we discuss an important issue: dealing with your narcissist in a foreign country. I'm El-Nadi, international public speaker and instructor on behavior and communication across culture. So I'm not a mental health professional, but I'm a serious researcher, best-selling author, and YouTuber on narcissism in relation to various aspects of our modern life. I've lived and worked in multinational environments all my life, so I like to share insights with people from different backgrounds to help them deal with each other. I'm Egyptian, so that's why my content is mostly in Arabic, as there's a lack of professional information on this topic in Arabic tailored to the cultural and social needs of people in my part of the world, particularly that we suffer greatly from this problem with no reliable source of information on discovery, processing, and recovery from narcissistic abuse. So that's why I started offering content in Arabic about this topic in depth and simplified so people can learn and help themselves. So today, I want to discuss what happens to people from my side of the world when they are left alone to fend for themselves with a narcissistic partner in a foreign country. I don't think others have tackled this topic before, so I thought this could be very useful for people who have been following me who speak English to be able to gain some insights on why rushing into a relationship, particularly marriage, with a person who lives in a different country and a different culture could be a very dangerous decision. I chose this time of year in particular for this topic because this is basically mating season for this kind of marriage. Immigrants come home on holidays with the intention of deliberately meeting a wife or husband. They meet someone a couple of times among a ton of people, get engaged very quickly, fly home and come back in the summer to get married. And the very first time the two people, that couple who just got married, will get to know each other in real is going to be while they're married in a different country. If this wasn't enough as recipe for disaster, there are many other factors at play that I'm going to detail for you today. And that is why this episode in particular is in English, because I want both sides to understand me. I'll post the Arabic version later so more listeners can also get this information, but basically I wanted to get this out very quickly at the beginning of the year. To be clear, I'm not saying that every person who lives abroad is a narcissist. Obviously not. I am addressing the complex situation of falling for a narcissist who lives abroad. I'm also mostly addressing women because they are the most vulnerable in this scenario. But of course, both men and women can be narcissists and can be the victims of narcissists. So now let's start. A major factor in setting the stage for a narcissist to participate in this very dangerous game to practice his manipulation is a false notion many people have that any person who immigrates becomes an instant success, that the only thing holding people back is living in their own country, and that as soon as they leave, they instantly acquire fame and fortune. People have an overly romantic idea of life abroad that is full of money, pleasure, and happiness, and everything is fantastic and wonderful. This misconception is the ideal environment for the narcissist to appear on stage with his famous tricks of deception. Let me list 10 problems that could face you in this kind of relationship. If your if your partner is potentially a narcissist. Number one, lying. Narcissists are pathological liars. They enjoy not telling the truth for no particular reason. They just do this for fun. So being totally unknown to you and from a totally unknown background is perfect for a narcissist to start the cameras rolling. Being the great actors they are, they weave a fantastic story of their amazing life, where they come from, that will be all yours. They will give it completely to you when you get into a relationship with them. This is how they start snaring you, luring you into the relationship. A trick called future faking is one of their best tricks. That is collecting as much information as possible about your dreams, your aspirations, the kind of life you want for yourself. They do this in the initial stage of the relationship called love bombing, then creating an illusion of your own dreams and selling it back to you, only this time with themselves planted into it, giving you the false impression that if the narcissist disappears from your life, your dream will fall apart. Using the misconception of the foreign millionaire dream lover makes this mission very easy. He can easily put on his best act for a couple of weeks of holidays while he enjoys the fun and narcissistic supply from a new victim, hopefully not you. Number 2, long-distance relationships are fantastic for narcissists because they are like Mercury. You can't pin them down. They're elusive and non-committal, and they like to keep a harem, a complete system of harem of admirers at all times. They'd rather call or text and maintain a relationship that way than meet in person, especially in the stages while they're bending and molding you emotionally to submit to them completely. So a long-distance relationship suits them perfectly. That block of time between when they meet you at your parents' house, when they come back for holiday, and when they come back the next time to get married to you is going to be the time they completely manipulate you emotionally. They completely plant their lies into your brain about their ideal, fantastic life so that you're completely blinded by your own emotions to their problems and their manipulation when it starts, at least at the beginning. The way that long-distance relationships give them an environment, an ideal environment to play their game, which is keeping you hanging and chasing them while grooming new victims at the same time and exploiting all of you at the same time, and no one will ever know. Number 3, entitlement and manipulation. Narcissists thrive on exploiting people and situations for their gain, even at the expense of others. So they might con you out of your money, get you to give up your rights, withhold vital information from you, such as whether they are already in a long-term relationship with someone else, or whether they have problems with the law where they live, in the country where they live, whether they are gay and only getting married to appease their family that does not accept that, whether they have jobs or are really who they say they are, or if that is completely a big lie and illusion, and whether they're even a legal resident of that country and will not involve you in a long list of troubles if you believe them. Number 4, isolation. This is one of the classic tricks in the toolbox of narcissistic abuse. Narcissists would deliberately destroy all the victim's relationships and contacts to their close circle. Anyone who could give them sincere advice or rescue them if they try to leave is immediately getting rid of as soon as the narcissist gets under the skin and into the brain of his victim. A victim without a support system is very attractive to a narcissist. So try to imagine how the setting of bringing a partner from abroad is to them, to a circle, to an environment where there is absolutely nobody for that victim. That option offers them the ideal isolated environment without much effort on their part. So your situation is very attractive to them. Number 5 is very dangerous: sex addiction. Addictive behavior is generally attached to narcissism. Addiction to anything from behaviors to substances. Narcissists, when it comes to love and sex, they love to explore and to have multiple sex partners and relationships. They cheat on their long-term partners for sport. They enjoy it. They enjoy demonstrating how skillful they are at lying and manipulating several partners at the same time. Many people from conservative cultures will run to sex workers of all kinds and levels as soon as they set foot abroad, whether those sex workers are legal or illegal. Most people of that type have no idea about safe sex, and you can fill in the blanks and imagine the devastating results. Many unsuspecting partners they bring from the home country contract sexually transmitted diseases from their narcissists and then get blamed for cheating on top of that, because of course the narcissist doesn't accept responsibility no matter what they had done, nor do they accept criticism of any level. They are totally unaccountable for the devastation they cause, including passing on deadly diseases to their partners. Number 6, total control and financial abuse. Narcissists are misogynists by default. They lack empathy, they degrade women, and they consider them cheap tools of pleasure. They see other people, particularly women, only as extensions of themselves, meant to serve them and obey them blindly. So on top of psychological and physical abuse and manipulation, narcissists will definitely keep tabs on all communication. They will control contact with anyone. They will most probably prevent their victim from working, even though she might have been very successful in her country. And what's more serious and dangerous is that they will definitely withhold money, so that they would be the only source of it for the victim, simply so that she'd have no means and no one to run to. She would not be able to go anywhere and leave if and when she discovers she's being destroyed and manipulated. Number 7, cheating and multiple relationships. Narcissists would easily manipulate a native woman to marry her and give them a passport, for example. So they'd go to a country, they would just play their tricks on anyone they could find, particularly a vulnerable woman, someone with disabilities, someone who is a lot older than they are. They will just exploit the vulnerabilities of someone to be able to have legal residence in the country. They will do that while toying with many other native women, with the excuse of, oh, I don't love her, I just marry her for the legal papers, but you're the one I love, and as soon as I get my papers, I leave her for you. And you can imagine how many fall for this trick, and there is no reason not to suspect that he would do that with the women of his own country as well. So while he is married to a woman from the country he is in, he might keep long distance relationships or in-person relationships with women from his own country under the pretenses that they are both manipulating that woman just to get the papers and then throw her away and get married. Of course, if you meet somebody who thinks that way, you should despise them. You should not be their partner in crime. You should not think that it's a privilege for you to keep a relationship with them while they're cheating on somebody to be able to exploit them. You should have enough intelligence to tell yourself, if he's doing that to another woman, he would definitely do that to me. I'm hoping that this is what you're thinking right now. As I said, marriage to narcissists means nothing to them. They only think of themselves and how they can benefit from everyone and everything, no matter how many people they destroy in the process. Number 8, trouble with the law. Narcissists will attempt to break rules and manipulate every system. They enjoy breaking rules. Of course, some narcissists are more reckless than others, but the majority would at least try. The majority do enjoy breaking rules and crossing boundaries and, pushing back against any kind of law or system. So it might be a bad surprise to discover that they're on the opposite side or the wrong side of the law where they live. They might commit serious offenses that might affect you as their partner, such as evading taxes or evading child custody from another marriage and so on. Number 9 and 10, I would like to talk about the problems the victim brings to the table in this drama. The victim, if and when she agrees to get into a marriage of this sort with somebody she does not know, she has not met before, she has never seen his family or his friends or his home, and then she just ships herself on a plane to a foreign country and takes this huge risk to start a life with that kind of person. These are her disadvantages. She's alone. She has no friends or family or support system. She might have no experience living abroad. Many women like that have never traveled at all. She might have no knowledge of the local culture where she's supposed to start a life. She might not have an idea about her legal rights and where to go or who to call if she gets in trouble. Maybe even she doesn't speak the local language, if it's not Arabic and English, which are mostly, popular in general for most people. No money of her own. She probably has maybe brought a few savings, but if she's not legal to work, or if she, waits until she tries to work in that country. So when she first arrives for a considerable amount of time, she will have no money of her own and no escape plan or safe place to go in case things go wrong. All of that, in addition to the normal extreme stress of being a newlywed, coping with the pressure of marriage itself, adapting to married life and a new man, all of that is stressful in a woman's life, particularly in our conservative cultures where women don't know much about men. They don't know much about married life. They have never, been in close contact with a romantic partner. So they are getting used to that for the very first time. Put all of that on one side and then put in front of it a new culture, new life and circumstances, probably a pregnancy often too soon for a person who's unprepared. It might even be an unwanted pregnancy at the very first. And on top of all that, manipulation, abuse, and cheating. So try to imagine, the psychology of the victim, all the disadvantages, all the pressures that she has to endure in parallel to keeping a life with a narcissist. Keeping a life with a narcissist in itself, in a person's native environment, is extremely stressful and dangerous. So try to imagine all of that together. Number 10, finally, the victim mentality. A victim of a narcissist probably has extreme empathy, which is the first trait that might have worked against her in that relationship, the first thing that might have attracted the narcissist to her. She's probably brought up on perfectionism. Most victims of narcissists, female victims of narcissists, are successful, ideal kinds of girls and women. They have been brought up in such a perfectionist way to believe that all people are angels. You can't fail because you've always been a perfect daughter. You must hold on and be strong and bear everything because that's what religion says. Of course, that's a false understanding. And the extreme pressure to succeed, to avoid shaming and ridicule because you in particular can never fail. Failure is an unacceptable option. And in the end, the woman who gets who wakes up to being abused and being in an abusive relationship and tries to leave, she's the one who gets blamed if she leaves the toxic relationship. People say she wasn't enough, she didn't know how to keep him, she didn't know how to please him. And she's made to feel less valued, less valuable, less adequate, and more pressured to accept yet another bad marriage to cover up for the terrible first one. And so why go through the process in the first place? Add to that the stigma surrounding psychological therapy and counseling, and you get a totally destroyed woman whose only fault was either grabbing at a false opportunity to have a better life or running away from age shaming and being made to feel obsolete if she doesn't quickly get married just to anyone. Just to tick boxes off the list that now she's married. It doesn't matter to whom or with what, quality. I'm hoping that with this episode, I've shed some light about some basic factors to consider when choosing to marry someone you don't know very well who lives in another country. Maybe the right thing to do is book the family a trip there to see the real life, meet the family and friends, and have a better idea of who that person really is in their actual environment. The same would apply to a person of your same religion and another culture, because a lot of people are under the false impression that if a European Western person is of the same religious background and sect, then they are a perfect person. Again, that is a problem of perfectionism and naive thinking. Religion alone is not enough to determine whether a person has mental health issues or behavioral problems, or whether they can be a good wife or husband. So be careful and use your brain, not just your heart. You'll find a lot of information on my channel in Arabic if you speak Arabic, and I promise to make more English episodes as we go. Have a happy day and see you next time.